Hello, everybody. We're so happy to have you join us here today for the onboarding meeting of the CSU Extension Internship Program. This has, I think, become one of the flagship programs of CSU Extension and really for the university. I think if you are lucky enough to be in a room with the president of the university, this is one of the programs that she really touts because it is just a wonderful example of how we can bridge what's happening on campus and incredible engaged and applied research with all of the fantastic work and opportunities in the field. And you all as interns this summer and as mentors this summer play a really important role in being that bridge, really embodying what the land-grant university, Colorado State University, is meant to do. And so in a few minutes, you're going to get to hear a little bit more from our director of the Office of Engagement and Extension, Blake Naughton, about really what Extension does and especially at CSU. So you'll have to hold on to that for a few minutes, but just to say, thank you so much for participating in this program. We could not be more excited that you are here to be with us. And next slide, congratulations, especially to the students, the interns who are part of the call today. This was a really selective program this summer. It was hard to get selected for these internships. And you are really here because your mentor committee thinks that you can make a difference this summer. And so we just couldn't be more excited. Next slide, please. I should say really quickly before I get into the numbers, for those of you that I do not know, my name is Becca Jablonski, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Agriculture and Resource Economics. I also co-direct our new Food Systems Institute on campus, and I co-lead our Food Systems Extension team that many of you may have the opportunity to interact with this summer. And I'm joined here by two of my colleagues who will introduce themselves. We're going to tag team today's presentation, Maddie Betts and Rebecca Hill. So Maddie's relatively new to the program, but Rebecca Hill and I have been here since the beginning in 2018 when there were 11 of these paid internships awarded in 3 colleges. And each year this internship program has really just ballooned. We have just been very excited about the interest in this program. And I think the success of these programs both in terms of the number of students who've applied and the number of internships that we've actually been able to raise funding for. And you'll see all of the different ways that we're able to raise funding from the program and all the people who fund it now. Next slide. This summer, we actually have 81 interns from 66 internships. So there's a few of these internships that have multiple interns. And we had almost 350 applicants. So as I said, it was pretty competitive. We have, you can see here, a number of colleges. In fact, I think it's every college but the College of Business that's now represented in the program, which is just awesome. Especially because historically, a number of these colleges really haven't been integrated with Extension in a more conventional way. And so this is really cool to see the expansion of the program. And you can see for the funding now, what we do is we get about a quarter of the funding from the Office of Engagement and Extension. We get about a quarter of the funding from the Office of the Vice President for Research. We get about a quarter from the Provost. And then the remaining quarter comes primarily from deans from various colleges. And I think that that broad support for this program, the program actually now is almost $500,000 a year. Shows the value that our leadership really believes that it brings to the university and to stakeholders throughout Colorado, as well as to students, right? And we see that there are direct connections between student success, and the provost has been leading a number of student success initiatives and participation in engaged research and internships. So I think that that's also a really exciting thing. Next slide, please. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Maddie Betts.
Hello, everyone. Yes, welcome again to this meeting. To introduce myself quickly, my name is Maddie Betts. My role is the Expanded Rural Engagement Initiative Program Coordinator in Extension. However, a fairly decent chunk of my time also goes to assisting with the Extension internship. Because, you know, at 81 interns, we have so many moving parts and so many interns and mentors to support. So we really just needed an extra hand, myself, to really just assist and make sure everything goes smoothly. And having things go smoothly is really important for the internship. So that's why I want to quickly address the Canvas page. So this is a resource for all of our interns, you know, as we start navigating through the internship program. So the interns will be starting the internships pretty soon, but if they have questions or concerns or anything like that, they all should have been invited to the Canvas page. Interns, if you have not received your invitation yet, please email me separately outside of this meeting to let me know, and I will ensure that you are part of the Canvas page. But this is a resource to allow the interns to ask questions with one another, to network with one another. For those who are new to Time Clock Plus or need some review, we will talk a little bit more about Time Clock Plus in a little bit, but we'll have the resources there to make sure that, if you need that review or that that assistance navigating the system, you have the resources there. We'll also have a bunch of reminders for different key events that we'll talk about later in this presentation. We'll also have templates for the posters. Again, we will talk more about them a little bit later in the presentation. But this is also going to be a great way to submit all of the photos that we receive of all of you doing amazing things this summer. So in order to additionally prepare for the summer, we've been so fortunate to be able to award travel and housing assistance to the internships who have requested it. So this year, we've actually, increased the amount of award tremendously. Last year, we only awarded about $12,000. This year, we're almost at $50,000 worth of travel and housing assistance. In each one of your MOU meetings, which have been scheduled all of the past couple of weeks, this week, and then we have a few more next week. Please make sure, if you haven't already scheduled your MOU, it is required before your internship can start. We are keeping track of it, so I do ask that if you have not already scheduled your MOU, that you reach out to myself and we can schedule an MOU meeting. But this is where all of the award discussion takes place. We will talk about what we received as a request for the travel assistance. We will also discuss, any questions, clarifications, and all of that. If you have any questions about the awards and you have not received your MOU yet, or you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me again as soon as possible so we can sort out all of the details. And just a little bit about the process for receiving the travel assistance and the housing assistance. It is, a fairly new process, so fair enough if you have some questions. But for the travel, as you can see, essentially, it's going to be pretty standard. You're going to fill out a travel reimbursement form at the end of the internship. So during the internship, please ensure that you are collecting all of the mileage, you're keeping track of everything, so we can make sure that we're funding you for the proper amount to cover all of the expenses that have been awarded. And then for housing assistance, any funding is going to be dispersed through hours that the intern will log into the Time Clock Plus system. So the Time Clock Plus system will be up and running by May 14th. So even if your internship begins later in the summer, you can start adding the hours to log the housing fund starting May 14th. And myself, Becca, and Rebecca will be here to answer any sorts of questions that you all have during the internship process and before the internship process about covering the housing and travel funds. But right now, does anyone have any questions or any clarification needed specifically for travel and housing awards? If you do, please go ahead and write your question in the chat feature, and either myself, Becca, or Rebecca will be able to answer your questions. So I will give it a second in case anyone has any questions that they would like to write in the chat feature. But like I said, most of you, if not all of you, have already had discussions about the awards in your MOU meeting. For those who are still waiting on their MOU meeting, it will be part of the requirement to discuss housing and everything like that. But okay, there are definitely some questions coming in. Excellent. We have one question. is there a proper way to keep track of reimbursement like Excel, or do you want images of the receipts, etc.? Specifically for mileage and everything, it is best to keep track however it works for you. So if Excel is the best option, please use that. Otherwise, reimbursement forms can use Google Maps. So if you're keeping track of, a Google map to show the mileage, that works as well. As far as housing and everything, like hotels and everything like that, I do ask that you keep receipts. We can go more in depth on a one-on-one kind of situation depending on your housing needs. And we do ask that if you have more specific questions, there's a lot of excellent information on the HR or the OEE extension travel website that has a lot of details about what kind of receipts to collect and everything. So if you would like me to send you those resources, I am absolutely more than happy to do so.
And I'll piggyback on this one as well. So with travel for the mentors, we will give you an account number. So if you have been given travel for your intern, we'll give you an account number and you have a couple choices, right? Your intern can submit travel the same way you do, right? If you are a CSU employee and you typically submit your travel through your department, you're welcome to do that same thing and they can submit the travel through your department with this account number. If that is not the case, say you're a county employee and you don't have that accessible to you, you can submit it through the Office of Engagement and Extension, and we will help you do that. So hopefully that helps. I see some questions about how do we know if we get travel reimbursement. That should have been spoken about during your MOU meeting. If it wasn't, or if you're still confused, send either Maddie or I an email, and we can let you know if you were awarded travel and how much and how that works. And I see lots of questions coming in. So if Maddie or Becca has been reading them as they come in.
Yes.
So there's one question I see. So yes, to Jacob's question. So each intern was awarded where the internship requested funds, those were awarded. So you have been awarded X amount to support travel. So you cannot exceed that amount. We do not have more money than that to pay you. But that being said, you still have to make sure you're tracking those expenses exactly as Maddie explained. We don't need as much documentation if it's just for mileage. You can track that mileage. An Excel spreadsheet is fine. But if it's actually things, particular items, hotel, we are going to need to actually see those receipts. And then basically we will reimburse you for those expenditures.
I see a question, does housing funding mean hotels? So there were very few internships that are awarded housing as opposed to travel. If you were awarded housing, you will know that you were awarded housing. That is for instances and circumstances where an intern has a bigger hurdle to cross in order to pay for travel. Maybe it's one of those areas that's really expensive, or there's some sort of an argument has been made that housing costs are exorbitant. So most of you that have funds, it is travel funds as opposed to housing funds. If you are someone that got housing funds and you have questions, feel free to reach out.
Excellent. It looks like we've answered all of the questions thus far that are in the time clock, or not the time clock plus, the chat feature on Zoom. We are going to move on to the next topic. But again, if you do have additional questions and follow-up questions about travel and housing, we are going to share all of our contact information at the end of the presentation, so you will have our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me and I will do my best to help make sure everything is clear and that everyone is on the same page and the same understanding for travel and housing. But moving on to our next topic, we've got Rebecca talking about Time Clock Plus.
Yes, so Time Clock Plus, for those of you that have been mentors for multiple years, you will have noticed we're doing payments a little bit differently this year. So this year, as opposed to the awards, we have set up all of the interns as student employees. There's several benefits to this, right? They have to log their hours and we can understand when they're working, how they're working, but it also gets all of the interns covered by workman's comp, which I think is kind of important for our interns. So with Time Clock Plus, many of you have spoken about how you've used Time Clock Plus before. A lot of the interns have, a lot of the mentors have. If you are a mentor team that has an intern that's never used Time Clock Plus and a mentor that's never used Time Clock Plus, please do reach out to Maddie or I if you have questions. Maddie's put a lot of resources on Canvas to help the interns get set up in Time Clock Plus and walk them through the steps. So if you need to use that, that's a good place to start, but don't worry about reaching out to Maddie or I if neither of you have used Time Clock Plus. We can help you with that. But essentially, every intern has 260 hours over 10 weeks over the summer. So it's your responsibility to make sure that they do not log over 260 hours. That may be you have the intern keep track of that in a spreadsheet that you both have access to, however you want to do that. But that comes to around 26 hours a week for 10 weeks that you need to be logging in Time Clock Plus. It does not have to be 26 hours every week, right? There might be one week that they work more and they log up to 40 hours and another week that they only log 10. There's only a few rules around this. They cannot work more than 40 hours a week. They cannot be logged into Time Clock Plus when they have a class session, if they're taking a class over the summer, and they cannot work more than 10 hours a day. But beyond that, there's flexibility around when they log those hours. All employment forms must be turned in and approved before the internship can start. Most interns are good. Most internships have gotten all of those forms filled out. But for the few of you that have not, you will probably be getting a nudge email here in the next couple weeks. But that has to be in place or you cannot start your internship. Again, we and Canvas are here to help and answer any questions. I know this looks different and not everybody has used Time Clock Plus before, so we are here to help. And then lastly, I wanted to make sure to call out the College of Agricultural Sciences. We are really lucky that Jennifer and Jesse with the College of Agricultural Sciences have been managing all of this for us. So even if you're a student in the College of Liberal Arts or the College of any of the colleges, we have had the College of Agricultural Sciences handle all the paperwork and deal with this for us. So we wanted to just give a big call out and a thank you to Jesse and Jennifer with the College of Ag.
Rebecca, there's a question in the chat box. Are interns on the typical biweekly pay schedule?
Correct, yes. Good question. Biweekly, which means there's a 2-week lag, right? So you're going to work your 2 weeks, log those hours, and then you will get that first 2 weeks paycheck 2 weeks after that. So you'll get your first paycheck a month after you start. But after that, you'll get it every 2 weeks.
And quickly, I do want to add additional support is that myself and Rebecca Hill will be in Time Clock Plus as well, monitoring hours and everything. So we will also be able to help keep track. And if we see that, you know, one of the interns is at 200 hours towards the 260, I'm more than happy to send an email just as a heads up. Hey, everyone, we need to be mindful of the remaining hours just to do our best not to exceed that limit. So yes, it is a very new system, but we will definitely do our best to make sure you are all supported and everyone is, you know, getting the proper compensation without causing too much of a paperwork headache to make sense. So.
Are there any other Time Clock Plus issues before or payroll issues before we move on? Okay, excellent. And I don't think we have Blake here yet. Is that correct?
I do not see him.
Okay, so Maddie, we can skip and then come back to Blake. Yes, Rihanna, you can, if you forget to punch in, you can track those hours and there's ways that your mentor can actually enter those hours afterwards. So we don't recommend that. So try not to do that. But if it happens, you can still get paid for those hours.
Great, good questions. I guess I will keep going and talk about the forum. So hopefully during your MOU meeting, you got to hear lots about forum and you're really excited for forum. I think it's one of the really cool outputs that comes out of this extension internship program is you all get the experience to make a professional poster and you get that professional poster looked at by your mentor team. So this is something that you can put on your resume. This is something that we will give to you after forum. Granted, your mentor might want to hang it up on the walls of the extension office, but this is something that you can take after forum. And forum is going to be the week of October 24th this year. It's usually in the evening. You'll notice here it was 4:30 to 6:30 on the first Monday of forum last year. We'll let you know the exact date. We think it'll probably be earlier in the week, but we're not for sure yet, so I don't want to commit to that. It is the expectation that every intern make a professional poster, send it to their mentor committee well before forum. The mentor committee needs to review that poster, look at that poster, give feedback, and then you need to give us a poster by October 1st to Maddie and myself. We'll get those directions to you through Canvas so that we can review them and get them printed out. So we need a poster by October 1st. If you have a class, say during the poster session, don't worry. We will write you a professor excuse letter to get you to the forum. So we expect everybody to attend the forum. And I see Blake just showed up. Should we pass it to Blake or should I finish with posters?
Definitely finish.
Go ahead and
Sure,
finish.
Blake?
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt. No, I've got time. Thanks.
All right. If you want to go back to the last slide real quick. So for these poster sessions, I want to let you all know who have not made a professional poster before, you don't need to worry. It's nothing you should stress about. Your mentor team is there to help. Again, Maddie and I are there to help. And on Canvas, we're going to give you a nice template. Here's kind of a look at the template to help you walk through it. And if you go to our website, I don't know if Becca or Maddie can put that link in the chat. It's intern.colostate.edu. You can see all the past interns posters. So you've got lots of examples to work from. You can look at ones that have similar topics. You will also see there that there's a lot of different ways interns have gone about it. So yes, we're giving you a template, but still be creative and use your creativity to build these posters. And you can look at those examples and see how different they look from each other. Next slide, Maddie. And here is an example, we're going to give you this slideshow. We'll put it on Canvas and send it out to everybody. Here's an example of a really good poster that somebody did in the past. And I kind of wanted to put that up there so you can see it. A few things, and we'll walk through this as this comes later, that I want to make sure everybody notes on this. At the very top, we have not only your title and your name, but make sure to include all of your mentors' names as well, right? You'll notice in the top right here that not only do we have the interns' names, but we have the mentors' names and the programs that they worked with. Because we want to call out the mentors as well, we want everybody when they're walking around, yes, to see the wonderful work you did, but also to see who the mentors were. And so with that, I think I can pass it to Blake. Oh, nope, I got a few more examples. Sorry, Maddie, there we go. This one's just showing you on the website, right? If you go there, the website, here's a screenshot of the 2020 internships. We point out the 2020 because not only can you see their posters, the 2020 interns weren't able to do it in person because of COVID. So they had to do their own little spiels over YouTube. And so you can even watch the YouTube videos of each of those interns sharing what they did over the summer. So you've got lots of examples to work from. So again, we don't want you to stress about this. This is an opportunity. Again, posters must be provided to the mentors by the date agreed upon at the MOU, and all mentors must review it and approve it before you send it to Maddie or I by October 1st. We will print all the posters. So Maddie and I will take care of printing all the posters and bringing them to that October session for you. All right, are there questions in the chat, Maddie or Becca, that I should address around this?
Yeah, Carrie has a question that I don't think we've had before. She said, I assume that we should reserve some intern hours to allow to prepare and present their poster presentation at forum. But I think, Carrie, since they're no longer working for the Extension Internship Program, right, I think that we can consider it more of a sort of professional development opportunity. So I think, yes, you need to give them some hours during the internship to put the draft of the poster together, but I don't think that that is the case for the actual poster presentation session. Rebecca, does that sound about right?
Yes, exactly. If you give them if they work on the poster during the internship, yes, they should absolutely log those hours. But once the internship is over, they cannot log any hours. So if they choose to work on the poster after the internship is over, that is their professional development experience, correct?
Okay, wonderful. So with that, allow me to introduce Dr. Blake Naughton. So Blake has a very big job. And he can talk a little bit more about Extension and maybe how some of what we do in Extension is different at Colorado State than maybe at other universities. But Dr. Naughton is not just the head of Extension, but he's also the head of CSU Online, the Colorado Water Center, and the Office of Community and Economic Development. And so he leads this umbrella that includes engagement and outreach, of which Extension is a part. And I think one of the other interesting things about Dr. Naughton is that he has done his educational work actually in understanding education administration and planning and social policy, and so in policy analysis. And so he thinks really strategically about how these different systems work and how we do outreach. and engagement. And so we're really fortunate to have him here today, and I'm going to turn the floor over to him.
Well, that was a generous introduction. Thank you, Professor Jablonski. I appreciate that. And I am so excited to say hello to all of you. I'm embarrassed at how much younger I looked just a couple of years ago in that picture. This place has aged me in the pandemic. So I'm like, who is that young buck who was coming to Colorado State 2.5 years ago? But I'm excited to see all of you. And I love that I was in on the poster presentation part. So thank you, Rebecca, for walking us through that, because that's an exciting event. I mean, that's really one of the standout events for me of the year, of how much fun we have. President McConnell was there with us last year and was only going to be there for like a half hour. She was there for like 3 hours or something. Like it just was so engaging. And we have a whole lot of campus leaders and faculty who come and enjoy, because the work you're about to do is just super exciting and real world stuff that is helping people. And so it's beyond a classroom assignment, is real service learning. And I hope that you all are excited about it. So Becca and Rebecca, the Rebeccas, have invited me to kind of talk today, give a little bit of kind of think about Extension 101. I think it's really important to think about this organization that you're now a part of. And we very much welcome you to the Extension family and to what that means. And we'll give you a little bit of the history and kind of where that comes from as an organization. And most of you picked Colorado State University for a variety of other reasons that have nothing to do with the Extension mission. Maybe a few of you were in 4-H or something and had a connection to Extension when you were growing up, but I recognize this might not have been something that you were asking about when you were on your campus tour, however many years ago that you were at that, and that's cool. But you're part of a very interesting legacy. And if you look at the seal of Colorado State University, you'll see Extension being one of the 4 things that are on that, along with research and teaching and service and extension. That's because we in the land-grant university system care deeply about extending the knowledge to communities all over the state, which is about what you're to embark on. And we do that in partnership with other folks like your partners and mentors, and even some alumni, if I see the chat right, that are our partners in doing all that work. That's how we work. So what is it, then? What is this extension thing that's on the seal and that I come from? And number one, as the slide says, this is about translating research into action. From the very first year Colorado State University opened, we had field schools. We had faculty out meeting farmers on their fields and talking about the latest research and ways to help their production. That's what we do. It began in agriculture, but it's moved on to a variety of different areas that we work in, where we take what the knowledge is being created here at the university, all the science, and understand how it can shape people's lives and work in a variety of areas. As I said, as Rebecca said when she introduced me, I'm a social scientist. I come from an education background, professor of human development, and my care in the world that unites my career is about human development and how learning in workforce and in educational context changes people's lives. And that's what this is. This is informal learning that we do around the state by partnering in research with folks and by just actually teaching classes out and around the state and teaching people all sorts of things. It has to do with healthy lifestyle. We work with youth, as the slide suggests, through our 4-H youth programmings. And there's also an aspect of this that we're responsive to community needs in a lot of ways. One of those is about emergencies and disasters. So major wildfires or floods or pest infestations or things like that. The extension offices are often there to be the educational arm of a response or preparation for the recovery of a disaster. So we're a part of that. And in general, we think of ourselves as connectors. We say there's really 3 duties of the extension agents and specialists that you'll work with around the state, and that's educate, create, connect, meaning they teach, they make stuff, and they connect people together with the university. And that's what makes it an exciting job, makes it really fun and doing that so that we bring all that together. So how's this thing work? It's very interesting. It's different than how the main campus is funded, in that we are known nationally as the Cooperative Extension Service. And who is cooperating? Well, it's the university, it's the federal government, state government, and county governments. And we have extension offices in over 3,000 counties across the whole country that work in this way. And every state has one or more land-grant universities that bring that together and bring all that funding together for a purpose that's local and community. This map shows them all over. What you'll see is places like Colorado, we just have one, the original land-grant university system. And then in a number of states, recognizing historically Black colleges and universities, they were brought into the system in the 1890s. And then in the 1990s, we brought in tribal colleges and recognizing that those higher education partners serve particular populations. So that's why I have a very complex system that even spreads to the territories. I'm waiting for my extension meeting to be in Guam, that I get to travel there for some reason, but I hope that I get to do that. Actually, might get to go to Alaska next year for that very reason. So you're part of a much larger thing than just Colorado. It's a big part of it. Here in Colorado, we're unique. We're different than other states. A lot of my peers that lead extension services in other states are like an associate dean in a college of agriculture, and they focus mainly on agriculture and youth development. In Colorado, we're university-wide, and we work across all 8 colleges in a variety of different ways of the university. The main areas that we work in, the way we try to describe our work to the public, are listed on this slide. We work in economic and community development, and that includes civil discourse, and try to figure out, ag production and food systems, that work that Becca's a great campus leader on. A variety of different things fall under that. Civic leadership in a variety of ways. I talked about emergency planning. Of course, our historic core has been around food and agriculture in all the ways from production agriculture. So ranchers and farmers we work with directly about their soil and about their outcomes, and helping them to remain profitable and to pass down their farm to future generations, things like that. For a long time, we've been in the space of health and well-being that started during the Dust Bowl and during the Great Depression, when extension offices were turned to help families survive that horrible time, to learn how to can food and to preserve food over periods of time, and for farm families to continue when we were a very rural country along the way. And it spread into movement and aging and all sorts of other mental health that we work in the health space. We have a big imprint in the state of Colorado on natural resources and sustainability, particularly around water, around forestry. We partner with the Colorado State Forest Service, the Ag Experiment Stations in that work. And it's a big part of where we are, even in the urban Front Range, when we think about our urban landscapes and how we use water wisely. And finally, we talk about youth and family development, and we serve across the lifespan from 4-Hers to retirees and providing educational resources. And the 4-H programs, if you're not familiar with that, is the largest youth outreach program in the country, spanning every state, and is related to kiddos doing independent projects under mentorship, because that's the best form of learning. Well, you're not kiddos anymore, but the Extension Internship Program is independent learning under great mentorship, and we carry that forward in this program, and that's, I think, one of its great strengths. So that's how 4-H is structured as well, and just show fun stuff at a fair. Across the state, you're going to work within regions. As you might hear the extension professionals that you partner with talk about regions. We just redid this map a little bit. It aligns with the way the counties in Colorado organize themselves. But these are the regions of it. Of course, the Front Range is unique region, and our mountain region is unique, and then we have our rural regions out in the west, the northeast, and the south. And these are administrative regions. We can cross those lines. You can do projects across those lines. That's not a big deal, but that helps us to best support our faculty and staff that work across the state, just to have some support. And what this ought to also let you know is that we work in every county of the state. We have offices in almost every county. There's a few that we just partner with and teach in the counties, some very low population counties, but we work all across the state and provide this land-grant universities educational resources in any way we can in every corner of the state, which is why projects like this emerge, is that opportunity to bring this to every corner of the state. Even those of you that are working right here in Larimer County, that's great too, because we work right here in Larimer along the way. I forget what the next slide is.
I think that's your last.
Is that
slide
my
we
last
have
slide?
for you.
Okay, so
But
that's-
I don't, if you need to run right now, that's great. Or we
No.
can see if there's a question. If anyone has a particular burning question, we probably have time for one question or so.
Yeah, this is a fast extension 101. Just knowing that you're part of a large organization, people working all around the state. It's all right if there's no questions. You can ask me all the questions once you get into this, and I come and visit your counties this summer and run into you. I really, the president and I are going to Northwest Colorado in June to a number of counties. So if any of you are working up there, but we'll go to other spaces. And I really love hearing about your projects when I stop and visit an office. So don't be shy. Come up and let me know what's going on and tell me how it's going and how we can improve your experience. And I also just want to say back real quick to all of this is a large number of people. So I think a bunch of our mentors are on the call, a bunch of our partners along the way. And I just want to thank you, whether you're staff with us or an outside individual. Thanks for your time and working on this. It's a great project. It's a win-win-win in all the ways. So thanks for doing that. So I'll stick around for a few minutes and listen in, Becca, if that's okay, but let me know if I need anything.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking time to be here. And I think all of our interns are going to get to know a lot more of the depth of what Blake was just sharing with us. So thank you.
Yeah, good.
Okay, thank you, Maddie. Excellent. So this summer, we are piloting something new. And so we are cautiously optimistic it is going to be great fun and you're all going to learn a lot. But we definitely want to hear from you about if this new approach works. So there's going to be two different opportunities that you have to engage with other interns this summer in a more formal way through the Extension Internship Program. The first is that our regional directors have each organized a convening for the interns that are going to be primarily in that region this summer. And so it's up to you and of course your mentor, but you have an opportunity to go to multiple of these meetings if you're working in multiple places, or you can pick one of these. You can see that we have all of the dates finalized, except we're still just working out the final details with the Southern region. We will send you invites to these meetings and we can cover travel, not for if you're working in Larimer County and you're going to a Larimer County event, but if it's somewhere where you need to travel to another county, we can cover your travel to get there. And I think these are going to be really fun opportunities. They don't have any, most of them do not include formal educational programming. It's really supposed to be a social event to meet the other interns in your region, to get to know the other extension personnel in your region, and to just learn a little bit more about your region. You're all working in beautiful and interesting places this summer, and we really hope that you're going to have time to explore. So this is, I think, a wonderful opportunity. Next slide, please, Maddie. And then the other thing that we're hoping you're going to do this summer is that we're going to have meetings by your primary topic area. So you just heard Dr. Naughton talk about the sort of 6 areas that we have extension divided into. And of course, it's hard to say that one particular program is in one bucket, right? Because everything has linkages, but we've worked with your mentors to define your internship by primary topic area. And you're going to be invited to 2 virtual Zooms, so you don't need to go anywhere to do this. One is going to be in early June, just for you to get to meet the other interns that are working in your topic area, because we hope that one of the things that you're going to see is that there's other interns that are doing similar projects, and it's interesting and useful to you to have the opportunity to engage with them. The other meeting that's going to be in later July, again virtually, is going to be an opportunity, as I like to say, to see the forest from the trees. So you're working on a particular project where maybe you're doing some work with a particular pest, or you're doing a particular community development project where you're working on a food plan. But this is an opportunity to see, how does that topic intersect with issues around climate change? Or how does that help us to think about more broadly doing a better job in educating youth in rural parts of the state, right? And so we really want you to think about how that topic you're working on fits in this broader suite of questions that we're working to address at Colorado State University, what we might refer to as these wicked challenges, right? Things that are not easy solutions, and they're things that people can spend entire lifetimes to try to figure out. So stay tuned. You're going to get invites for those virtual meetings, and we really hope and encourage you to participate. Next slide, please.
Also during the summer, you guys are going to be all doing incredible things, both mentors and interns alike. And it is so important that we get to celebrate all of the work that you are doing. So one of the ways we would love to do that is by promoting the work that you are doing through social media. This year, we just created social media accounts to celebrate all of the incredible work that our interns are doing. So if you are interested, I highly, highly recommend going to our social media, as you can see on the poster. As of right now, there is only a few posts. These were very recently created. However, they will fill out throughout the summer and throughout the years of the program. So please go ahead and follow the social media. And during the summer, we would love you to take photos so we can continue to add to the social media. And we would love to hear your stories. So we will be working to reach out to all of you to, get updates about what you're doing over the summer, or to, get some feedback about the amazing projects that you are working on. And we would love to publish a couple of communications about that, obviously with the consent of the people who we're talking to for those publications. We would like to share what our students are doing. You can see on the bottom of this slide, there is a link that kind of shows some great examples of past interns, and we would like to continuously update this for the program as they continue. However, when taking photos, even though we would love you to take as many photos as possible, we do want you to be a bit mindful of subject matter. For example, when you are taking photos of fellow, internship program members or fellow community members, we do ask that you receive consent before taking photos of their faces, just because we would like to be mindful of people's privacy, people's personal space, and people's, their images. We don't want to publish anything without acknowledgement and consent from the people in the photographs. So it's a really important thing to share all of your stories. And so if you're interested in submitting photos, there are plenty of ways to do that. On Canvas, we will have a place where the interns can share photos. You can just go through the link and submit the photos that way. Otherwise, if mentors are taking photos or, fellow stakeholders or whoever the case, and they would like to share the photos, you can email them to me, and I will be the one managing the social media, so I can definitely add them there, or we can collect them for our own internal use for reports and memories and everything like that. So please, 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 we would really love to see what all of our amazing interns are doing, especially because we have so many interns this year. We're at 81. That is 81 different stories and 81 different experiences that we would love to know about and we would love to share. So we are going to talk a little bit more about photos and taking photos for the summer. Is Mark
Yes, Mark is here. And I'm just going to say, all of you, we are so lucky to have Mark Rose in Extension. I often twist Mark's arm to help with videos. He just does these incredible videos that help us to tell our story. And it's so important to get that information out into the world. And so we wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to hear from Mark, because we hope that many of you are actually going to get to interact with him this summer. So Mark, take it away.
Hello, everybody. So as Becca has said, I'm a video producer with the Extension office, and I do hope to get out this summer and come around and tell your story of what you're doing in your internship. So since there are so many internships going on, I can't get out to everybody's site. So we're hoping that you can do some video recording as well during your internship and get it into Maddie, and we'll be able to use some of that footage as we go along. Now on the screen, you can see our model release. And if you click on this PDF link, you'll get this link. The top half of that page is for adults and the bottom half is for children. But this form has been used for many things. There are some parts of it that really don't apply to your internship so much. For example, it says, I agree that the media may contact me. You can just ignore those parts. The important part of this form is the very top, where you have the person that's agreeing to be on camera write their name. And then the lines in the middle that are the date and the signature of the person. And if you can capture that for us, then we're covered and are able to use the footage you have of them. So there are a couple things that I would like to ask from you during your internship. And I don't know if you can see my picture, but one of them is if you shoot footage with your camera, can you make sure and orient the camera so it is horizontal when you take the video? A lot of people like to shoot in a portrait way, but really having the horizontal side like this makes the video work much better on our websites. And the other piece that I would ask from you is, if you can remember, have somebody who's working there with you, hand them your phone or whatever you're recording with, and get footage of yourself working. So whatever you might be doing, try to let us see you at work on this internship, because we're going to be telling your story. And it's really great to have footage of you doing whatever it is you're doing in your internship. So there are other people on the staff with me who will also be looking for your stories. One fellow's name is Griffin Moores, and I know he's going to be coming out to see if he can stop by, take some photos, maybe capture a little bit of video and write a story together. So the website that you see on the screen at the moment has some great information on tips on making good photos. So if you get a chance, go to that website and see what CSU recommends for images that are used in communication media. So with that, I'll turn it back to Maddie, and she can tell you about some of these videos that we have on the websites.
Thank
Mark,
you.
it does look like there's a question in the chat for you though, Mark.
The question is, so that everyone can read it or hear it, is the media release form strictly when individuals are in the picture/video, or is it for any type of media?
So I would say the rule of thumb there is if you can recognize their face on the screen, it's best to have a release. If they're far away or maybe at a orientation where you can't really tell who that is, then don't worry about it. But if it's very clear that somebody could identify their face, then it's best to have a release.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This is fantastic information. And as Mark pointed out, there are definitely a lot of website materials that you can use to review. And we have a copy of the photo consent form on Canvas. So interns, if you have additional questions or you need another copy of it, you can either access it there, or I also have access to it, and so I can definitely share it with you. Then regarding the interns in their own voices, these are some examples of kind of those videos that Mark was talking about. So he had the opportunity to go to different interns and just kind of record their experiences. He also was able to film them doing the work and everything like that. So some of the examples are here, as you can see. We're not going to click on the videos today just because we want to be mindful of time, but this link down here, the intern.colostate/CSU interns, there are many videos, more than the ones that are listed on the screen today. And you can hear all the different voices and see examples of not only Mark's wonderful work, but then also the work that our interns have done in the past, and potentially, you know, the type of video that you could share your story with. So we would really just want you all to be mindful that this is an opportunity that could take place over the summer. However, just because there are 81 interns, we can definitely not guarantee that each and every one of you are going to be receiving a visit from Mark. If we do coordinate a visit from Mark, we will make sure that there is ample notice and heads up and everyone is consenting and all ready to go. But I do highly recommend that you take a look at these videos and you are able to hear these stories and appreciate the work that is involved. Is there anything that either Becca or Rebecca would like to add about their voices and all the video projects at hand?
Yeah, I'd like to add one other thing. In the past, the communications department with the Office of Engagement and Extension has also done some profile stories on interns. So if you are doing something that you particularly think is great, maybe you are you have a project, or maybe you were interviewed by the newspaper or something like that's going on, reach out to us, and OEE might want to spotlight some of the stuff that you're doing. So not only us reaching out to you, say Mark's coming to your area, but you can reach out to us as well and say, I have something that I think would be a great story. What do you think? So we would love to hear from you as well.
All right, everyone. So we are ending pretty soon. And I know that this hour-long onboarding, although a ton of fantastic information was provided today, you know, we weren't able to cover absolutely every single detail and every single fact and everything like that. So if for whatever reason you do have additional questions regarding basically any of the topics we addressed today or any other topics that weren't addressed in our onboarding meeting, there are plenty of contact points that you can reach out to. So definitely for interns and mentors, we recommend connecting with one another to cover the details and the specifics of your internship. Your mentors are going to be a fantastic resource for being able to address the finer details of the internships, right? They will be able to talk much more about the objectives of the internships and the structure of how the research is going to be conducted, or how how you're going to interact with the communities, or whatever pertains to your internship. So the very first key point of contact I would highly recommend is interns, please reach out to your mentors, and mentors, please keep in contact with your interns. That's going to be the #1 resource. However, if you have additional questions, maybe pertaining to Time Clock Plus or the photo consent forms or any of the materials that we discussed today, please feel free to reach out to myself. My email is on the screen right now, and I also have been emailing all of you nonstop about the CSU Extension internship, so hopefully you have my email by now. But yes, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or if you need any clarification, any more in-depth information, whatever the case may be. And during the summer, if you encounter problems or issues, or just need a little bit of extra support, please feel free to reach out to myself. Again, my name is Maddie. I know on the screen it says Madeline. I will respond to both, so please, no worries. Either one is fine. And like I was saying, if any challenges or issues arise, not only can you reach out to myself, but my colleagues, Becca and Rebecca. Both of their contact information is also on the screen. They are fantastic resources. They've been with this internship from the beginning. They're the ones who really created it, and it is their baby and their passion. So they are more than happy to answer questions and address concerns as you have them. But the main thing I really just want to emphasize with all of this contact is that it really does not matter what the issue is, what the concern is. Myself, Becca, and Rebecca are all neutral parties, and we are here to help you and to ensure that this is such a fun, successful, and safe program for the summer. We're very optimistic that this is going to be the best summer internship program yet. And we're really just here to help all of you, since you are the stars of the show. We want to make sure that that we're here to support you and make sure everything goes well. And with that, again, please send us those photos. Look at all the amazing things that our interns are doing. But we just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of information. It was really valuable, and I know how busy your schedules are. So thank you so much for squeezing the time to talk about this internship and to prepare. Like I said, I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic summer, and we are so excited to hear about all of the amazing things that each and every one of you accomplished with your mentor or with your internship team. So we're super excited, and we just want to say thank you so much. If you have any additional questions, we've got about 5 more minutes of the meeting time, so you can definitely send your questions in the chat, and we might be able to answer a couple. If not, you just got the contact information from all of us, so we can definitely answer your questions and address your concerns and everything at a different time. So awesome. Thank you, everyone. I hope this was informative. And if you are leaving us now, get that 5 minutes early. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. But we do have another 5 minutes in case there are any questions. There are a lot of thank yous. Thank you all. You all are the ones who are, helping make this possible. We really could not have a program without all of the fantastic interns and the fantastic mentors, the support systems, the stakeholders, everyone. You all have been so accommodating and flexible and just so enthusiastic about the program. So we're really, not only are you making our jobs easier, but you're making us very excited for our job. And we're very thankful for all of you. Any questions, anything? All right, doesn't look like it. Thank you all so much.